Starting with our first panel, Lebanon's Digital Leap, AI in Governments and Public Services. It's an honor and pleasure to have Her Excellency Ms. Haneen Al-Sayed, Minister of Social Affairs. His Excellency Dr. Rakan Nasruddin, Minister of Public Health. His Excellency Dr. Kamal Shhade, Minister of the Displaced and Minister of State for Technology and Artificial Intelligence. His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Haidar, Minister of Labor. Please help me welcome them on stage. This panel will be moderated by Founder and Partner Director of Research, Sarino Associates, WiDS Advisory Board. Please help me welcome Dr. Carol Al-Sharabati.
Governments are racing to understand how artificial intelligence can transform public services, health, education, labor, social protection across sectors, and Lebanon is not an exception. Despite our challenges, there is a clear appetite today on all sides, on academia, on private, and on public sector to move forward. I'm really honored with this panel, where I have Minister of Public Health, Dr. Rakan Nasruddin, Dr. Haneen Sayed, Minister of Social Affairs, Dr. Muhammad Haidar, Minister of Labor, Dr. Kamal Shhade, Minister of State for Technology. Today we'll explore how AI can link ministries through shared registries and data systems, how it can foster evidence-based policy making, and how we can build bridges between the public, the private, and the academic sector. The panel is about that vision, a Lebanon ready to move from fragmented efforts to connected intelligence, turning technology into trust, data into dignity, and ensuring that women remain at the heart of it. So let us start our panel with the first question to Mr. Shhade. Minister Shhade, maybe you can start telling us how can AI help rebuild trust in Lebanon, and how can Lebanon leverage AI to modernize public sector?
Thank you, first of all, for inviting me, Dr. Fleihan, and the organizer of WiDS, and Dr. Carol as well for moderating this panel. AI and technology. And I think technology, digital technology more broadly, can restore confidence in a number of ways. One, because the process that it can implement is traceable, it can be monitored, and through the use of technology and AI, we can deliver services that today are not being provided, and we can deliver services in a faster way than they're being provided, and we can deliver services without having to go through a samsar, through waiting in line, through driving hours to get it and go from one administration to another. This is the promise of technology and AI. And as you know, with agents that you're very familiar with, one agent can do hundreds of transactions in 1 minute. This is a country that suffers from a very severe budget constraint. We are unable to hire enough people. We're also unable to attract the right talent to public service. And through technology, we can actually fill that gap, but more importantly, we can provide these services that we are not providing in the right way that you deserve to get as a citizen. But there's another aspect to it. AI and technology is the future of this country. It is the single most transformative bet that we can make as a government, because it is what creates opportunities for the talented Lebanese. And as you know, you deal with them every day, and so do I. This is the future of the country. If we were to think of the most promising area for investment, for education, it is technology and AI. And so by creating these job opportunities and the investment opportunities, that's how we restore trust.
My next question is going to come in a few minutes, and it's going to be what have we done towards that. But let me move to Minister Haneen Sayed now and ask her about her latest launch of the digital transformation strategy. If you can give us what are the key elements of this digital transformation strategy and where does AI stand in your vision in the technology sector?
Thank you, Carol. صباح الخير جميعا. And thank you to AUB for this wonderful gathering, conference, to everybody here and all of the students that are attending. It's really a pleasure to be here. So indeed, recently we launched a digital transformation strategy as part of the wider strategy of the Ministry of Social Affairs, which is soon to be renamed Ministry of Social Development, because in the end this is really what it's about. So the digital transformation strategy is not just about using digital, it's really about reform. It's about transparency, and most of all it's about social inclusion, which is obviously what my ministry cares about. And it's about how to reach our beneficiaries who are marginalized communities, individuals, households in society, whether they be people with disabilities, elderly, or just generally people who are not able to access jobs. So the strategy is really about that. How do we have better social protection programs, reach people transparently, directly, fairly, and equitably? It has three main pillars, if you will. The first is what we call an integrated beneficiary registry. We have around 2 million beneficiaries in our programs. That's actually a big number. That's about half the Lebanese population. If we say there's roughly 4 million, 4.2 million in Lebanese. Integrating them into one large data set, if you will, which is connected, is absolutely key. And it's key because, of course, we want to be able to use it. For me, it's the power of data. We sit on a lot of data, and I think most government entities have a lot of administrative data that we just are not using. So, but it has to be in a form, in a that can be used by the ministry, and of course, ultimately then by the public. Now, so developing what we call the IBR, Integrated Beneficiary Registry, is absolutely key, and we're already quite a way in this through the DAM platform. We can mention it later. Secondly, the second pillar of the strategy is connecting all the social development centers of the ministry. We have 160, 170 such centers all around the country, which are the frontline service to the communities, to the population. This is where beneficiaries, people in the community come and say, I need help, whether it be some of it is primary health care, some of it is psychosocial support, some of it is vocational education, or women who feel they need support in terms of violence that they've experienced. So these social development centers today are not yet connected. Neither are they digitized, neither are they connected with each other. So the second main pillar is to network these social development centers and to be able to automate the services. The third main pillar is about the core MIS of the ministry itself, the workflow, the processes. So, but of course, before we digitize and automate them, we are simplifying the workflow and the like. We have some mu'amalat that take 50 steps. This is absolutely unacceptable. Signing a contract with a typical NGO takes about 50 steps. So we're cutting that down, and then we will automate it. Ministry of Social Affairs deals a lot with civil society, with the nonprofit sector. I have about 420 contracts with NGOs and welfare institutions. All this is paper right now. So all of that has got to be automated and digitized. And then ultimately connecting the IBR, the individual-based registry, with the social development centers and the NGOs. So this is sort of the vision, if you will, for where we want to go with our digital transformation strategy. And we're quite a bit ahead, but still a ways to go. Yesterday, with the Ministry of AI, we signed an MOU, so we're getting technical support from the Ministry of AI and to be able to be within the wider national transformation that the Minister of AI, Mr. Kamal Shahade, is leading. And so that's, I hope, in a nutshell, where we want to go. But let me just say in the end, it's really about social inclusion. It's about how to reach the citizen, how to reach them fairly, how to give them the opportunity to apply, to be able to register in the system. If they need help, that this can all be done efficiently and transparently. Thank you.
Yeah. We will come back and dig deeper into AI and the use of predictive modeling in the social inclusion sector. Minister Nasruddin, as we're starting to warm up now, I'm going to dig deeper into the specifics and the details. Your ministry is tremendously important. The link between health and technology is today at the edge of research. Data gathering on the health sector is a big sector. It's all about dealing with non-communicable diseases, which are the leading cause of death today. It's about personalized digital health records to avoid fragmented healthcare, to ensure robust, comprehensive global care. So my question for you is, what are concrete steps and examples of successful digital health and data-driven registry systems that were implemented in Lebanon? And where is the ministry going forward?
Well, thank you again. Good morning to all. A lot of faces that I know with many mentors since pre-med and medical school till residency. يعطيكم العافية. So basically too many things are ongoing in the Ministry of Health. And what's more important, let me here talk with frank honesty, is the interministerial communication with too many success stories that we share together. In our ministry, as you know, it's a big ministry dealing a lot with hospitalizations, pharmaceutical sector, securing medications, and a lot of needs with minimal support and limited budget. Accordingly, we have started and we have completed many of the missions that started previously with the previous ministry. For example, we have a shared mission with the Ministry of Social Affairs and the primary healthcare centers. We used their data from the Aman system in our Riaya system to direct our support to the poorest of the poor. So this is one successful story that I would like to share with you. And by that, we were able to deliver the primary healthcare centers with this facility and with the names that we got from the Aman program. Many ongoing things are shared with the Ministry of Technology and AI. We have launched the National Digital Health Strategy as part of our National Health Strategy, together aligned with our colleague, Dr. Shahade, to share the vision and how to implement the strategy that we planned with WHO. And that was launched like 2 months ago, 2025, 2030. So actually also we have the school health program with the Ministry of Education, with a survey that we had from WHO, targeting the problems and identifying the challenges at the age groups between 13 to 17 and how we plan our strategies on that. So basically, we are trying to benefit from the opportunity of the good communication that we have among all ministries and to benefit from the data that we have to plan our strategies. Without data, the response is blind. And this is the core of our mission here, to build these strategies and to make the plans based on realistic data and share our plans clearly and transparently under the umbrella of each ministry. That's how we produce. And I think these are some of the success stories that I just mentioned that are ongoing in the ministry.
Thank you. So we'll come back to the practical measures on data availability for research and how this data is being managed to keep anonymity, etc. Minister Haidar, you have a big mission because you're the one behind the human factor across all these ambitious plans and visions. So how do you think we can ensure workforce readiness in Lebanon? And how do you think we can retain talent in Lebanon in this sector? You know how much demand there is on AI skills, and how do we make sure that we're going to have this workforce available to support
First,
the sector?
good morning. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for Dr. Fleihan and for all of you for this excellent conference and panel. First at all, for Minister of Labor, one of my challenges first was how I can introduce modernization to the Minister of Labor. Because as you know, and all of the audience know, the contact with the ministry normally is with Samsar. Normally, when you need to do anything at the Ministry of Labor, you choose one person to do it in your behalf. So one of my ideas first was how I can start this work to shift to digitalization, to digitalize everything in the ministry. Because there is no data. First, when I go for modernization and digitalization, I will have data to start from there, to help workers and to know what is the need. And we started, and now we have most of our process or our work at the Ministry of Labor is now digitalized, and also we started to include in some process of our work AI identification to verify if the passport, for example, or ID certificate is real or fake, or it's accurate or not. So we work with all the ministries, with our minister, Dr. Shahadi, and also with IMSAR, and we started also to shift to payment for all our process. So already done. We announced that a few weeks ago. Now we start to go for modernization of our data and to be published and to be available for the public to know what is the need in the country. Soon we'll announce in the Ministry of Labor a new application to tell all Lebanese what is the need in the country, which sector need more workers, and where is the demand increasing or decreasing. I think if we go for digitalization and new technology with a new application available for all public can help us to deliver the more easy the work for the public. And in other way, of course, we need to protect them with the law, and we work on that. Soon we'll send a new law law of labor to the parliament to be discussed first to the government and to the parliament, and now we are in the final phase of the before modernization our law in Lebanon, because we need to add some law to protect workers and to facilitate the process of modernization and digitalization.
Okay. Minister Shahadi, to support all this, you have a big mission. You need to ensure sandbox with data, with unique ID, with interoperability and interconnected data. So all this data story, and you have a big crowd in the academic sector that's waiting for this data to be available for research. So there is a whole governance around the data to build, to make the data available for research, etc., so that there is enough collaboration. How are you going to handle this? Is this on your journey, on your new ministerial journey, because there's a new ministry that's also being coming together, and how you think you're going to make this happen? And I'm going to add another thing. There's another layer, 2 questions in one. You also have to get all the infrastructure, because it's all about sovereignty of data, and there's a lot of insistence for the data to be in the country, and for the data and AI to be in the country, we need GPUs are expensive, hard to bring, etc. So how are we going to get it? Are we going to have a data center in Lebanon? Are we going to have GPUs also? So to
That's
summarize,
3 questions,
we have 2
Carol,
tough
okay.
things. One, okay, I gave you the chance for the introduction.
No,
now it's my turn. So sandbox, to summarize, for data access and data governance, and the second one is GPUs and data centers. How are we going to handle this?
Thank you, Carol. This is a very serious question. It goes to the heart of why this ministry was established. And a few weeks ago, the government approved the law, the draft law, now it's in Parliament, to establish the Ministry of Technology and AI. The mandate of this ministry is to work on all these things, but not alone. Fortunately, any digital transformation is a whole of government enterprise. The role of this ministry is to orchestrate it, is to make sure we have a good strategy, which will have to be defined in collaboration with the whole government. And it is to work with every single ministry to implement what they've identified as their priorities. So let me just take a step back and mention a few things that we've worked on to address the concern. The first part is to build a foundation. We focus on the legal foundation. Without that, this is the part that takes a long time, nobody will celebrate it, but without it, there is no future for digital business, digital future for Lebanon. We're focusing on that. A number of laws and regulations have been put in place. Some of it has been sent to Parliament, including law that will go, or a draft that will go to the Council of Ministers in a week or 2, which is a data privacy law. That's very important because it helps us. We don't have a data privacy law. We don't have adequate protection of data. That's number one. Cybersecurity is another concern. We're also working on it for 12 years. There's a committee that's been working on this. Now it's with my team, and we are making some final touches before it goes to the Council of Ministers. One, legislation, create the institutions that will carry this, that will implement. I'm not going to get into that, but this is also a big task. But also we're building the national digital infrastructure that links the different ministries together. It creates the system by which one ministry can transact with another. So for example, if you want to transact, get a, a work permit for a foreign worker, it goes to Amin Am, it goes to Wazarat al-Amal, it goes to this and that. If you want to set up a business, there's the Ministry of Economy, there's the Ministry of Justice, or Al-Sijil al-Tijari, and the Ministry of Industry, if it is a... So linking them together so they can transact together is what we've worked on. We have the terms of reference, the RFP, ready to push the button to implement this on a public-private partnership basis. Because I want to address, again, the concern that we do not have a budget to do any of this. We have, excuse the term, champagne ambitions and beer pocket. But our ambitions are even bigger. We do have to be ambitious. We have to be ambitious because that's the only way we make a difference. How do we build a data center? How do we get the GPUs? Today, Lebanon is in tier 3, meaning you cannot get the latest chips, not even if you apply for a license. So one of the things I have is now we have a roadmap that will allow Lebanon to graduate to the point where we can get the latest NVIDIA chips, مش بالتهريب, but really through legal proper channels. Now, who's going to make the investment? Once again, I don't have an answer from the public sector. We can talk about Ojero doing this, Ojero doing that till the cows come home. The reality is the only way to do it is for the government to have a public-private partnership for someone to build a data center to house the sensitive data that the government wants to use. Not all data. Look, I have to warn you, I was on the other side, and I've seen way too many vendors, push the definition of data sovereignty to the point when it's become ridiculous, okay? I agree there's data that needs to stay in country. It's a data that is high risk, that is very sensitive. But not every data needs to be or should be considered or categorized as high risk. So today there's been billions and billions of dollars of investment made in LLMs and data centers and all that in countries that we have excellent relations with. My recommendation is that we do use that infrastructure, and they can dedicate some racks that will be subject to our laws and regulations, subject to our cyber measures, even if they're not placed here. And guess what? All this consumes a load of energy that we do not have. So for the foreseeable future, for the next 2 to 3 years, the sensible thing to do would be to rely on investments that other countries have made, so that the data that is not sensitive can actually go and be housed or stored there. Now, as for the training of models, which is the most energy consuming, we're not going to do it here for the next 3 to 4 years. شو بنعمل؟ نرفع ايدينا ونقول خلاص ما في؟ No, there are ways to do it. Even when the data stays here, we could also train the model, even if it's in other data centers, it's somewhere else. That is something we can do, and we should be working towards that. Now, how do you get to there? First, in addition to the work of building the national digital infrastructure and the institutions, we've got to work on something that's very close to my heart, and Dr. Awad is involved in it as well. We have to go from graduating approximately about 3,000 people in tech every year to about 10,000 people. That is an ambition that we can achieve. People are being directed to fields that have no future, but that is one field we should direct them to. Second, and very importantly, we have to invest in building these data sets. Every single ministry is sitting on a treasure trove of data that is unused. We have to digitize it. With no resources, we've digitized the resources at the Ministry of Displaced. Now, all the documents at the Ministry of Displaced have been digitized. With the press of a button, I can send a query, and AI would generate the report to me in 30 seconds, what it would have taken Mudir Am and his staff to develop in a week. We've done that not just to demonstrate that we can do it using AI and digitizing data, but also because we're going to close down the Ministry of Displaced, and I'm very mindful it's my responsibility to make sure that the data does not disappear, doesn't go away. So we're preserving the data for future generations. Every single ministry is sitting on a lot of data. So one of the things we're working on, and this one with the Ministry of UMSAR, with the Ministry of State for Admin Reform, we are working on a data classification, data retention, and a policy about how you govern data in the public sector. This is going to be a game changer, because once it goes to every ministry, it will guide them in starting to build their data sets. Finally, just a dream of mine is to see the private sector and the universities, the leading universities in the country, including this one, working together in a consortium to build a national healthcare database. It's not going to happen outside the walls of some outer space. It's going to happen when the academia and the best medical centers in the country put their heads together, working with the ministry, and build this national healthcare database. Now, people will hesitate that أنا معلوماتي ليش بدنا نحطها database and others use it. No, data is not all data. It's not all the same. When we talk about data, people confuse. They think it's just one thing. Data is many things, and the same data point can be accessed in a different way with different approvals, and it can be used for public health research, it can be used for customization of medical care and so on. So let's start building these databases, and again, my hope is that the private sector and academia will roll up their sleeves, and by private sector, the health insurance companies will have to be involved because they're sitting on a lot of it, and if you want to have access to seamless medical care, we have 17 payers today, بالبلد في 17 payers. You're not going to get to that point unless you digitize it. So the minister is working on a digital health record system, but we're also working on a digital ID with the Minister of Interior. The Minister of Interior is leading on this. And again, hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll hear an announcement on that. The digital ID is going to be the cornerstone of any digital republic. And a digital republic is a republic that is focused on delivering services to citizens in a digital way, in a seamless way, by protecting your data, but also saving you the trouble of going through, waiting through lines or samsar or wasta or whatever. Let me stop at that. Thank you.
I'll just ask you for 3 dates.
Sorry?
3 dates. You talked about laws, about data classification. When will these laws be submitted to the parliament? The second date is everybody is waiting for the digital ID. When do you think it will come together, not it will be announced? So when do you think there will be a national digital ID?
So,
And the third one is, when do you think we can hope to have a data center or some model on Ojero's data center that can be used for the government? Do you have dates on these 3 things?
I have dates, and I can commit to when we submit to the Council of Ministers the data privacy law. I cannot commit to when it'll be tabled for discussion to the Council of Ministers. More importantly, I cannot commit when it goes to Parliament and how long it will take. Unfortunately, Parliament works, to be diplomatic, in mysterious ways. So the date I can commit to is within 2 weeks, data privacy will go to the Council of Ministers. The second date is Digital ID. I think between now and the end of November, we will launch the work, will start on a digital ID. It will take about 6 months to have the first result and to have a pilot. It doesn't mean that everyone will be on a digital ID, but we can start bringing people onto the digital ID. Finally, on the data center, my patience with the public sector monopolizing telecom services has ran out 15 years ago. So my plan is if no action is taken on this before the end of the year, I will go to the Council of Ministers with a plan for a PPP, public-private partnership, to have a data center.
Minister Nasruddin, healthcare, national healthcare database. How far are we from that? What's the status of collaboration with the hospitals and the private sector? And when will we have some anonymized healthcare data available for research in the country?
Well, that's a good question. I just want to comment on what my colleague has said. We have the Universal Health ID in our ministry, and I think the Ministry of Health was the leader in getting this digital ID. Definitely this is a part of the umbrella of the national ID that we're looking for and we're waiting for. So basically, we have too many ongoing active issues where we use data in the ministry with too many programs. One of which is the MediTrack, where we do the traceability of medications from the importer till the hospital or the pharmacy. And this definitely is helping us controlling the leakage that happened with the subsidization and what happened before. And this is creating also a good atmosphere for us where we can benefit from this opportunity, where now we have a collaboration with the EU, and we are working on digital health data for a national cancer registry that we had previously was in the ministry but was on pause due to many constraints, including financial and communication issues. Definitely now we're relying on academia, not only on labs. We are relying on the hospitals, and we contacted them all to have the data collected under the umbrella of the ministry, where we have one collective data center or data hub at the ministry. We are working on a digital health. With the digital health strategy, we are working on the electronic health record, where we have a plan for having the health insurance system all connected to the Ministry of Health, and this is funded by the World Bank donation with pending approvals. So all these activities, all these data centers that we're trying to build are definitely leading towards a point where we have a collective data hub that we can use and share with academia, with the all active ministries to get the result that we're looking or check for any plan that we're looking for. So we have also the Phoenix system where we connect many primary healthcare centers together through one system, and this is something that we use. We have the LMS system where we have tracking to all stocks on all over the hospitals and in the ministry and in Garantira and all sites for dispersing medications. So actually, I believe that the Ministry of Health has, I think, a solid data structure. Definitely, we need to build more on the infrastructure, but this is an opportunity to benefit from other ministries and other plans to jump from universal health ID for only health to a national ID, digital ID, and this is how things we are going.
How soon do we expect a sandbox that will be available for researchers?
Please, I love sandbox since I was 2 years old.
بالنظام هيدي بس.
Sorry.
Saving him.
Go ahead.
He's used to this. I do this in the council.
He's committing on your behalf
all the time.
now. I'm worried.
No, but because you did ask about sandbox, and to clarify, sandboxes are regulatory sandboxes, which means that a certain type of activity is not heavily regulated, so you can experiment. And you let it develop, and as you observe it develop, then you identify what kind of regulation is needed. So we're doing that on finance, fintech, and a couple of other things. But sorry to interrupt.
Are you doing this on health?
Well, but that تجي منه.
Actually, yes, we are working on that. I cannot commit to a date, honestly, but I think within this ministerial stay of the council, we will be launching that hopefully in the coming month.
Mr. Said, your ministry is all about social protection. There are two things that are of interest here. First one is I know you've been using some modeling to select extremely poor households for your cash transfer program. And it's interesting to hear your experience here. How much did you hit or miss? How did that work, and how much did you hit or miss on this model that you have used, and how do you think it can be enhanced?
Thank you. So what Carol is referring to is the methodology we used in identifying poor and vulnerable households to be eligible for the cash transfer program. Lebanon has a very large cash transfer program called Aman that reaches 800,000 Lebanese individuals every month. That's about 20% of the Lebanese population. So it has very good coverage, although it doesn't yet reach all the poor. That's a different story. But so this program, Aman, is fully digitized, and it rests on the digital platform called DAM, where people apply. I mean, today, any Lebanese citizen on a phone, on an iPad, what have you, can apply. Although right now the registration is closed, but it will reopen before the end of the year. But essentially, they apply, they are assessed for eligibility, initially digitally, and then, of course, human interaction has to happen. There is a household visit that is conducted for every household. And then the modeling that Carol referred to, essentially econometric statistical modeling, is used to pop out scores for households, which are in a way somewhat like a poverty score. And then we are able to rank all the households from the lowest score to the highest, i.e. the most needy to the least needy. And then depending on the kind of financial resources, the budget that the government has, we're able to reach and support these households. And as I mentioned, we have today 20% of the Lebanese population which are receiving a monthly transfer from the government. And payments are also digitized, most recently with Siren, because this has been a very nice public-private partnership where Siren Analytics have been helping the ministry in developing the platform as well as the analytics behind it. Payment now has also been digitized, so G2P, government to people, are receiving payments monthly, where before we used to be relying on UN and World Food Program and the like. So this is actually a very good achievement, but we don't want to stop there. I think we need to go much more. We need to use AI to be able to help us do some more predictive type of, who are eligible, to be able to predict where poverty is going in Lebanon, depending on different macro indicators. So there's huge potential on this, and this is something that we're very much adamant on. But another very interesting use of the data, if you will, as I mentioned earlier, we have about 2 million data points that we're sitting on in the ministry. And one of our priorities now is to not just help people get cash, we actually want to help them get jobs, we want to help them get into economic productivity through different ways, either through self-employment or wage employment. We use this data now, we're able to do skill profiling. So we know, we have the information on the households, on each individual in the household. We can reach out, are you interested in, for example, being connected to a microfinance institute to help you get a small loan or an asset type of support, or connecting with the private sector. And here's where the work with Ministry of Labor comes in. And as I mentioned, we do this profiling, and then we can do this matching. So again, I come back to the sort of the power of data that was underused and where we can really go much, much further today from where we are. But the good thing is that Ministry has really embarked on this, already using it in our programs, and we have much more ambitions on this.
So your ministry are making decision on basis of this model that is classifying household on the level of income that they have, or the consumption level. Now, how much bias do you think there could be in this classification? And if there is any, how could it be addressed, or how is it addressed?
Sure. Of course, there are what we call errors, type 1 and type 2 errors in this kind of predictive modeling. And this is where then you have to put in systems to recheck on random basis. You have third-party monitoring, all of which are part of the AMAN program. And then you have to bring the human factor in to actually go in. Social workers, we have about 500 social workers that go to the households and they recheck, and we have them coming from different regions to recheck the work. So the human element is important there. And you try to minimize this error, different techniques. I believe we have high errors of inclusion, i.e. people who are not really of the extreme poor, who are currently receiving benefit. And this is something that bothered me very much when I first got in, because obviously this is public funds, not going to the right people. So this is why now we're doing a recertification of all the households. So every single household that is currently receiving is being reassessed with new criteria and with new methodology, and using AI to help us weed out some of those that are not credible, not worthy of receiving. So it's a constant process. Now, this is where connecting with other database becomes very important. And we do have already APIs with Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education, but we've got to do much more than that. We have to connect with civil registries, especially when the unique ID is on board.
Unique ID, and one with the Ministry of Labor.
One with Ministry of Labor, one with Ministry of Agriculture even. They have a farmers registry that's developing, and there's also a connection there. But the importance of connecting is to be able to also verify and recheck. I go to Jordan, I go to Egypt, and I see their equivalent system, and I get very jealous. In Jordan, they have about 42 databases that are connected. So a citizen comes and wants to apply for social assistance from the government. They put in their basic information, their ID, of course, their household number, what have you, and then the system automatically gets from all these databases if they own a house, if they own a car, if they, you know, so on and so on. And immediately the equation, their poverty score, if you will, is calculated within seconds. This is what we hope to get to in Lebanon. That's where we aspire after this collaboration, this work that we are pursuing in the government.
Thank you. Mr. Haidar, what are the critical elements of these laws to protect the workers in the tech industry and eventually to protect the ethics of the workers in the tech industries and to protect the legal dynamics around them? Because we know in AI we don't know anymore who's to blame, who's responsible, how is the judicial sector going to develop in this regard. So this is important. Is there any element around that, and what are any other key elements in these legislations that you're working on?
Thank you for this question. This is a worldwide problem. It's not related only to Lebanon. Till now, there is no international legislation for that. But in Lebanon, we work to protect our workers for that, to guarantee the minimum social protection at least, and to guarantee the access and to protect them to have this legal problem. So we try in the new law will be sent to the government and to the parliament to have a structure. We work closely with the ILO to have at least the minimum to protect our workers. First. Second, we should work closely also with the private sector to have a clear vision and structure how we can integrate with the workers in the private sector. Till now, we don't have the final law, not vision. The vision is there, but we don't have the final law to be clear and to be announced. So we work on it, and we have a long road to take it. We are ready. I think the close collaboration with the ILO and with the international communities and with the others can help us to define this.
There's another important question about labor, and I think Minister Sayed will be wondering about this aspect of things. We know that AI is going to take jobs.
Yes.
And it's going to put people out of jobs across all sectors. Has the Ministry of Labor thought about this, and what's the way forward in this?
As I mentioned, I think our role to protect our workers first, and to see how this integration of AI in all sectors can guarantee the work for the workers, for our Lebanese workers especially, and to not only in the legal way, but also to guarantee also the salary and the income and everything. So it's not monopolistic as I said.
Maybe with AI will not.
Well, I know that Minister Shahade is preparing some agentic system that will take over some of the jobs within the ministry.
To be realistic, the idea is there,
so
but how to be implemented and to be feasible, this is the problem. I know we have a lot of ideas, and I can talk about unrealistic ideas, but we need to implement it. Till now, there is no clear way how we can implement it to protect our workers from the future. We need to work on it. We need to work closely for the Minister of, with the Minister Adel Nassar, especially to see how we can protect our workers. But as I mentioned, there is no clear road how we can do it now. Because it's, as I mentioned, international problem. we discussed that in many meetings. There is many ideas, but how we will go forward, I think Minister Kamal should help us in that to see how we can do it. But till now, there is no clear.
Mr. Shadi, the better he does, the more people will go out of jobs.
No.
The more challenges you will have.
This is not the idea. This is not the idea.
So you will have to regenerate the labor that will serve actually the digital transformation of the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Social.
We need to think about new sectors can be helpful, but I don't think the integration of the AI in the daily work will يعني هيوقف الشغل يعني بالعكس. I think will open another era. We need to think about it. Till now is not clear, but we need to be prepared for that.
Okay, so my timekeeper is counting the minutes. We have a few minutes left. So I would leave the last very short word for each one of you about what can you commit your ministry to do for the next few months to serve the technology and the AI sector, but more than this, to serve the collaboration with the academics and the private sector in terms of moving forward in this regard.
First, it is not true that I'm driving jobs away from here, but rather I think what we're doing will create new jobs. This is very serious, especially at a conference like WiDS. Every single person here, whether they're in college or in university or have recently graduated or are more advanced with 15, 20 years of experience, should go back and take an online course or take a physical course to understand how data can drive their business and how technology is changing their business, which is why in our program we are thinking about national reskilling, upskilling programs that go beyond the universities. It's every single person who's 30, 40, 50, 60 years old is not someone we write off because of technology. They can be retrained. So for many years to come, we will need them. We'll need them to be retrained and ready for the AI age. Second, I think ideally what I would like to see is that every single ministry is using AI and data to have for policy making and policy implementation, execution, and monitoring the work. I think with blockchain, for example, we can solve many of the problems that we see today of fraud in the real estate records and personal records, in diplomas and so on. So there are things that we will introduce over the next few months, and I can commit to that. Look, I just don't want to give the impression that this is you turn the switch on and off. This is a journey that Lebanon started years ago in fits and starts. But today, with this ministry and with a government that 24 ministers, including the PM, the Prime Minister, President of the Council of Ministers, are committed to, I think we are on the right path. And this will take a few years, but in the next few months, people will start seeing results. So what I would love to see is before our term ends, not only a digital infrastructure that we can leave to the next government, but also a demonstration of how, with digital technology, you can have a better service and we can break the monopoly, the grip of corruption and Samasra that they now have on public services.
We need to find jobs for the Samasras as well, right?
نعمل له النقابي.
They will find another job.
So, what I can commit for is a phrase that I've contacted when I was at the World Health Summit last 2 weeks ago in Berlin. It's I participated in a panel named From Fragmentation to Coherence. I think this is the target in Lebanon. We should go from fragmentation to coherence, to share data among ministries, to work together hand in hand at all parties. We are a group. We should look for a future in this bright way. And I believe from my ministry at the Ministry of Health now, with the national health strategy, that transformation that we have launched, it's time for implementation. We're proceeding well. The progress started, but it needs time, as Dr. Shahade said. Too many ongoing things are on the way. From now soon, we will be launching the mobile application to check the barcode on any medication box, if it passed through the ministry or not. It will be approved online or not rejected. We are working with registries, osteoporosis registry, National Cancer Registry. We have expanded our DHI system for surveillance, and the progress is ongoing. The wheels are working, and they're looking forward, inshallah, with good results here.
Minister Sayed.
سريعا, and I'd like to invite the students, youth of AUB and other places, but since we're here obviously, to come and to reach out. And if you're interested to think through, to come up with new ideas of how to use AI in social protection, I commit to being able to giving you the data, of course with all the conditions and privacy and the like, but to be able to make it user-friendly. And let's come up with new ideas of how to improve our social programs.
First, I will answer for Samesra. Lebanon is amazing. I will give you a true story. When we went to complete digitalization for the demand of the housemaid process, so Samesra find a way only to complete the process online. They take money from the people. So there is a way. We will find a way to continue to work. To continue to work. So even I think with complete AI, we will find a way to continue to work. First, for Minister of Labor, as I mentioned, so with our new system now, and I think we will have data digitalized and accessible for academia. Data related to sectors, related to work in Lebanon. I think with the new software will be started soon under the collaboration with the ILO and with other NGOs and with other ministries will be available. This data, we need the support of academia to learn from this data how to build the new strategy of the Ministry of Labor. It's collective work. As I mentioned, Minister Sayed, also you are welcome as the Ministry of Labor to see the data, to help us how we can take it and to support the workers. As you know, we have penury in all the ministries of workers, so we work with limited people. So any support, any help is welcome, and you are welcome as a minister.
Well, there are lots of other topics that could have been discussed, but if there's one thing that comes out of this panel from my experience, is that I've been seeing silos and very small islands of success from a ministry and a government to another. And now, indeed, I do see coherence, I do see interoperability, and I see collaboration, and I see a team. And I think this is really inspiring, it's encouraging, and we are all very excited to see this dynamic in this government. And we will take you on this hackathon idea, we will follow up, and we plan to implement it very soon. It will be announced on the OSB website, and we will bring very sharp youth that will be part of this and will be providing some successful insights and ideas for you. Thank you.